Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for inviting me to tell you a little bit about some of the work that we're doing at Cranfield University on behaviour-based fleet risk management. My plan is just to give you a 5-10 minute brief, really, on some of the work that we've been involved with, and if there are any questions, obviously we're happy to talk about those in the panel. Okay, so just to introduce my group then, I head up the driving research group at Cranfield in the School of Engineering. Our focus is on reducing costs in the fleet risk area. So essentially the kind of main core of our work is the work that we've done to develop a psychometrically based assessment for driver risk. Now, some of the costs that you've been talking about is related to the cost of travel. And of course, the cost of travel is largely dependent on the way in which people behave when they're driving, because if you drive in a certain way, you're going to use more fuel and so on. There are also huge amounts of costs with regards to, obviously, the costs of bent metal, the cost of insurance, the costs of unfortunately, the human cost as well. And notwithstanding the health and safety aspects with regards to your duty of care. So it struck me, having developed an instrument to assess driver behaviour, that really we ought to make that available rather than just use it as a research tool, which I had done previously. So Cranfield University set up a company called Drivermetrics to make the work that we've done commercially available. Obviously it's wholly owned by the university, and any revenue from the assessments is ploughed directly back into our research. Essentially how it works is that there is a norm group established within each subgroup of drivers, or within each particular industry or sector, and of course within different countries. And from there, there's a completion online and there's an instant profile. And that profile enables you to target the interventions necessary to address the behaviours identified. There's a number of different ways that you can target those interventions, whether they be workshop-based, or in terms of one-to-one driver coaching, or of course in e-learning. And a lot of universities in particular now are going down that route, and it's certainly what we're seeing in the global companies too, because they want a gold standard that they can make available across all countries. There's obviously a management information system for a full audit trail. I won't go into the details of it, but it's quite sophisticated. And if you want to hear any more about it, just email me or get onto our website. Thanks.
Next up we have Elaine, who's going to talk to us or share a case study with us from the University of Cumbria. And as I mentioned, it's about modal shift from car to rail, which I know some people probably haven't thought about too much, but I think this is a really interesting case study. I've looked at the details of it, and I think it really shows what the possibilities are there for that. So I'll just hand over to Elaine now.
I just want to spend a few minutes talking to you about some work that we did with the University of Cumbria. They're an interesting case in that, as a university, they have several sites in North Lancashire and Cumbria, and particularly sites in Lancaster and Carlisle, which really fit with our network. And we've been speaking to them as customers for quite a long time. When they came to us to talk about their desire to change their travel policy and to make some savings. They have a standard class travel policy, and they had pool cars, and people were driving to work and using the pool cars to travel for business, especially between Lancaster and Carlisle. And they also have staff that live in the Preston area and campuses between Preston and Carlisle as well. So it's quite a diverse university. So when we spoke to them, their objectives were to reduce costs, consider staff welfare and well-being, and their environmental impact as well. And because of the nature of their business, it fitted very much with the sort of things that we wanted to look at as well. So we have lots of capacity north of Preston. lots of our customers travel to Preston and leave the train there. And although I live in the Preston area, I'm mystified as to why that might be, but they do. And we've got lots of capacity, particularly in first class north of Preston. And we were interested as a business to find a partner to trial road to rail concept. And it's quite difficult to find businesses that know about their staff travel. What we looked at was, why were people driving instead of using the train? Well, one of the reasons is that they had a standard class policy, and their staff didn't perceive that there was much value in going by train. So we have lots of capacity in first class, and we felt that if we could offer them an upgrade to first class using a voucher system, which is a bit clunky but it works, they could have space in first class to work, to use Wi-Fi, to work productively. And what's interesting is that staff travel together and they have a meeting often before they get to their destination. So to summarise their results, the University of Cumbria has managed to reduce their pool cars from 49 to 0. And their travel savings have been £242,000. They've seen a change in traveller behaviour, and we calculate that they've gained, apart from the savings, 5,000 hours of productive time for their staff. And what's really nice is that they were awarded, they were winners of the Green Gown Award in 2012, and our work at Virgin Trains with them formed part of their submission. So we're very proud of that. And what was it for us? Well, some additional revenue, which is very good, and additional journeys on our services. But importantly, an enhanced relationship too between the University and Virgin Trains. And we find that there are ways that we can work together to look at opportunities of exploring travel over and above what we've been doing. Now, as you'd expect, people haven't moved completely from cars to trains, and they still need to use cars. But the university's made savings by moving to low-cost car hire and car clubs as well. And the benefit for us is that as a business, we would really like people to use trains, but we appreciate that you need a car sometimes too. And certainly in the Lancashire and Cumbria area, we're looking at car clubs and how that might work for us. Now, the university has a car club arrangement in Carlisle, and we now have one car club arrangement in Carlisle, but we're looking to extend that in that area, particularly in the Lake District, where Lake District National Park would like many fewer people to take their cars to the Lake District, and the car clubs we think will work there too. And so the conversations that we have with the university are helping us to formulate how we might make car clubs work.
Good morning. I'm going to give you a very, very quick overview, and just in case any of you that don't understand or don't know about the concept of car clubs, effectively this is taking technology-enabled vehicles, so remote access, no rental branches, putting them onto a campus and making them available to staff and students 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, and making those vehicles available to book literally within seconds. Within 4 clicks of a button, you can have booked your hire, got your travel in place. It's completely self-serviced and managed by the traveller. You don't need to speak to anybody on a phone. You can do it off your phone, do it on the internet, and everything is there for you. With the product that we supply for Hertz, it's specifically onto campuses, onto the universities, and the staff the vehicles are made available for staff and students. The students tend to rent them in the evening, the weekends, and the staff tend to rent them Monday to Friday, during the day, early mornings, sometimes overnight. So 2 very different groups of people, but actually their travel behaviour complement the overall product. Hertz operates from EVs to low CO2 vehicles. We have a partnership with one of our other corporate companies where we can offset the carbon emissions on the vehicle. And one of the key things again as well, and one of the big selling points for the Hertz Car Club, it's free. It's free membership, it's free for life, and it's access to our global fleet of over 150,000 vehicles, and that's all in there. So, again, when we talk about people are travelling, the benefit of a car club is that really, as the model grows, you can pick the car up where you get to, use it for what you need it for, and drop it back. Again, as the model develops, there'll be more one-way availability. So, in New York, you can pick our car club cars up from the airports and drop them in downtown. Much more effective than a taxi, a lot easier than car hire, and again, it then starts to complement public sector travel or public travel. You can see a couple of things within our model. So, not only is it all self-service, but you also get access to a 24-hour-a-day concierge service. So when you're in the vehicle, if you need to speak to someone in our call centre, you press a button and they will call you back in the vehicle, not on your own mobile phone, physically in the vehicle. And the benefit for that is all of our vehicles are tracked, so we know where they're doing, what's going on, what's happening. And there's no end of our people that are travelling that if they're broken down, we know exactly where they are. We can get the recovery services to them. If it's as simple as I can't find the electric charging point, where do I need to go? Or, as I've personally experienced, where's the nearest petrol station because I've left it to the last minute to try and fill up? So some of the benefits and just some of the partners that we work with as it stands at the moment. You guys will know better than me the pressures that you're under nowadays, how space is a premium, and a parking space is a necessity, not necessarily a revenue-generating area. The idea with having the car clubs on campus, it effectively stops vehicles coming to the campus, whether it be with staff or whether it be students. It encourages people to use public transport, and with a lot of our partners, we do a lot of work before students get to university. So there's a lot of pre-education, at the point where they might be thinking of buying a car, at the point where the parents might be thinking of sorting out that sort of travel. Making this solution available to those people at that time stops the metal physically coming in the first place. Again, because these vehicles are available 24/7 and they can sit anywhere, they can sit at campuses, they can sit at your office buildings, wherever you need them to go, you can put them outside halls of residence. One car club car will probably save you 10 to 15 parking spaces. It's a travel plan enabler because these are low CO2 vehicles, because you rent and drive them by the hour for when you need them. It will help you target. Your funding is key. You'll have targets driven around CO2 emissions. You'll have targets driven around other elements. These vehicles can help and assist that. And with some of our partners, as I say, we completely offset the CO2 emissions. And when you start to throw new technology into this, so things like electric vehicles, some of our vehicles that are coming on soon will be coming fitted with iPads. They'll be coming fitted with touchscreen keypad entry to get into the vehicles. And again, for the corporate travel or for your guy fleet, at the end of the day, these vehicles are fully serviced, fully managed, fully insured. The cost of putting business travel through one of these vehicles is dramatically lower than the 45 pence a mile you may be reimbursing on people using their own vehicle. And without going into it, you take away the risk, you take away the challenges of checking, these private vehicles that are being used, insurance, MOTs, road tax, all the good fun and games that comes with that. And the benefit again is that the business travel is at heavily reduced rates. So, if you look at a standard car club out there, the published rates, you might sit and think, actually, that's going to be quite expensive to rent that by the day, paying by the hour. Well, the agreements we come together with our partners make sure that we will work together to put a package that makes sense for whatever local agreements you've got to make it competitive. And that, and these can be billed. You can have your travellers paying on their own credit cards and claim it back, or you can just simply set up a monthly bill that's redistributed by cost centres, however it needs to work. It's a pretty flexible product. And at the end of the day, overall, you're bringing on a product that helps meet your business travel. It helps you target certain areas, but it's also an added benefit. It's there for students to use. It can be open up to the local residents living around the university to use as well. And then just some of the key requirements. In essence, it's exceptionally simple. All we need is some parking spaces. It's absolutely no cost to the university. There's absolutely no membership fees, no renewal fees, anything like that. Or, for this to work, it needs a partner with a clearly defined travel plan, and someone that's willing to physically target that grey fleet mileage spend, and have a robust system in place. And as I say, it's someone that wants to put some sort of element of business travel through this. If this product is seen as a nice to have because it ticks some boxes, it becomes a very hard product for us as a company to make work. But a partner that's willing to engage and put their travel plan into place with this can start to see a lot of benefits from it.